The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Mid Carolina Service Company.
Mid Carolina Service Company is the first name to search for your residential or commercial HVAC needs in Lexington and surrounding areas.
Just go holler at Jason and Clint. They'll hook you up on the air conditioners, on the restaurant equipment, refrigerators, refrigeration, ice machine repair. They've been doing this for years. I know them cats forever.
Family owned and operated since 2006, they pride themselves in their quality work and customer relationships. Call 803-356-4153 or visit midcarolinaserviceco.com for a no obligation quote for service today.
The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by True Brilliance Entertainment.
True Brilliance is a production, promotions, and management company dedicated to connecting artists and producers across the Carolinas to music industry professionals.
Several of their clients have placements both domestic and internationally as a result of their services.
Are you an artist or producer looking to build meaningful relationships within the music industry? Then True Brilliance is for you. Check them out at paramilitary.com. That's spelled P-A-I-R-A military.com.
This episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Bob's. Bob's is a Columbia-based retailer of over 100 Black-owned products from 20 Black-owned businesses. Bob's offers a wide range of items from household cleaning, cosmetics, and everything in between. With every visit to Bob's, you support Black-owned businesses, giving them the opportunity to grow and establish connections with our community. Bob's is located inside the Noma warehouse at 2222 Sumter Street in Columbia, South Carolina. Visit their website, weshopbobs.com, for in-store pickup or to find out more. Bob's can also be found via social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at weshopbobs. When you stop by, tell them the Hilltop Glove sent you. Bob's brings quality Black brands to the Columbia community. The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Red Rooster Sports Bar and Grill. Red Rooster is your neighborhood bar and grill serving the best wings, burgers, and baskets in the Met.
Like the amazing food, the bar is always on tap, and there's plenty of screens to watch the big game. Red Rooster is the Midland's premier meetup spot for local car and bike clubs, fraternities, and sororities.
Staff is dedicated to accommodating all kinds of parties and events. If you're looking to catch a game, have a bite, and a drink, look no further than the Red Rooster.
Red Rooster is located at 7500 Wilson Boulevard, Columbia, South Carolina. For more information, visit redroostersportsbar.com or visit them on Facebook and Instagram at Red Rooster Sports Bar. Go where the winners go.
Welcome to the Hilltop Glove Podcast.
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 Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast. We're so excited to kick off season 3. First and foremost, we want to personally thank all of our listeners for tuning in with us on this journey. Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing LB. LB is the owner and CEO of Mason Entertainment South Carolina. Mason Entertainment South Carolina is a music label located in Columbia, South Carolina. Mason ENT was forged out of dedication and desperation. They represent unity within the Carolinas and focus on developing artists to understand the business as well as recording and performing. How you doing today, LB? What's going on?
Doing great, man. Just happy to be here, man. Happy to just, be honored to be on the podcast.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
We appreciate you being here.
Yes. Just as a quick side note, we do know LB from the past. We actually known him for a while, working within the realm of music and et cetera. And he's actually went to college with us at the College of Charleston. So this is going to be a really good conversation that we're going to have today. We do have some insight into each other, but I will tell you that LB is going to give us some great insight into what's going on in Columbia as well in the music industry and how to operate yourself as a professional. I will say that. So, man, we're going to get it kicking quickly today and jump in here with this first question. But if there's anything you want to talk about today, please just bring it up and we will flow with it. But as we always start off, we have to ask all of our guests, If you can give us just a little bit more information about your upbringing and what influenced you and what impacted you growing up and coming to the point where you are right now, because they don't know who you are, but we do.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, most people don't know I was born in Buffalo, New York.
Wow.
So.
Oh, go Bills, Mafia.
Yeah. So I'm definitely a Bills fan.
See, look. So, stop, LB, stop. Don't do me like that, bro.
So when my mom moved down south when I was probably like 4 or 5, I've been in Darlington, and I did most of my years in Darlington. So early elementary, everything was in Darlington. Then I went back to New York for high school. So ninth grade, halfway through ninth grade, yeah, it was definitely different, but it helped me adapt to different cultures.
Okay.
Because then I came straight from high school to College of Charleston. So I went back from New York back to down south. So I'm kind of tired with everything, but I'm used to a faster pace like New York. Mm-hmm. But I grew up down south, so all of my friends, everybody's down here. So that kind of gave me a different perspective than a lot of people. So how my outlook is because, my culture was so different from where I had to go. And so as far as music, in New York, everything was a lot lyrical, a lot of freestyling in parts. It was everything there was technique. And so when you get down here, it's more emotion and it's a lot of storytelling. There's storytelling up there also, but it's a little more technical than it is here. Here it's more emotion driven, which is why I went over, because emotions always win, right? Music is what emotions is supposed to sound like.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. And so when people got hold of that, that's why the South kind of took over music. So as far as my background goes, as far as music goes, it's a love for music. I was in the band when I went to high school. Like, it was a lot that went on, but music was always centered around everything I did.
What instrument did you play in band?
The drums, the bass drum, the trombone. We did the marching band, so I did the big bass.
Oh, go ahead. You used to be swinging that drum, bro.
Yeah, it's man, Drumline and all that. Favorite movies. When I seen it, it was like the emotion, the energy you get, and just hitting the right notes and everything goes well. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Right.
And so
when you were doing that, that was in New York, right? When you were in the band?
That was in New York.
But you feel that the South has more of a connection to music then?
I won't say more of a connection because it's where we are. It's because we're here. Like, when I went to the West Coast, I really didn't hear Kendrick and them like that and Tiger until I went over there. And when you're there in that space, you feel the music differently because that's the culture. Yeah, so I'm in the South, so of course I feel like the South is it. Like, when I'm in Texas and everything, they're like, so like, but everybody really has a direct connection. It's almost like a religion. Like, I can't debate that I have a stronger connection with the person that I believe is my higher being than somebody else who has the same belief, but they believe in something completely different.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good way. That's a good way.
It's one of those traps, is to think you're more spiritual than somebody else.
Yes,
that's the ego really making sure you don't get it. You know?
That's extra dope, man. But continue. That's a good point. I didn't even think about it like that. Yeah, wherever you're at, that's the gods of that area.
Yep, that's it. And so everything is really about determination to me and consistency. There's a lot of things you learn as far as music goes. Of course, getting older and doing music, you learn it's not always, it's minimal talent. Like, it's a lot of talented people out here that's not consistent. They don't have the work ethic. They just don't have, everybody might not even have the personality to deal with people. So they might be more of a liability no matter how talented they are. There's a lot of rappers that die and go to jail because of temperament and just lack of understanding. So life is business. Like, music is business. And you don't want to concentrate too much on the business because it takes passion out. Music is really a hard business. Like, people don't understand how hard it is to still be passionate and still be full business and still make it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Really, any kind of creative field, like you kind of like making money off of something that you're drawing out the void, and that's a very taxing act.
It is.
You got to balance it out.
Yeah,
You got to
seriously.
recharge somehow,
Seriously.
you know?
And you don't want to take the heart.
Right.
You don't want to take the heart and the soul out of it.
Oh, yeah, because it happens quick.
Yeah.
It happens
Just to
quick.
focus
It does.
on the cold hard business.
Right. And that's why I say it was forged out of desperation, because down here, a lot of people don't really concentrate on the business. Nobody want to talk about split sheets when we go sit down to the studio. And
What are
nobody
those?
want to actually, right. They don't want to learn the copyright from on copyright.gov. They might get BMI ASCAP, but then they don't do the sound scan and just the full steps that it takes. And then after you do that, you like, you know,
I
like
don't
what I
want to
do.
do this.
what
No,
I-
where's the money? Where's the music at? Where's the music? Are we still
Right.
doing business? He's like, yeah, we're still doing the business part.
Yeah.
Right. I enjoyed the song. I haven't heard the song because I've been doing the paperwork all night. I've been typing my lyrics into everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely different. And so,
Oh,
like,
Lord.
people don't get the full understanding of music. So, like, for somebody who makes it and keeps working, I respect it a lot more because they made it through the business and they still kept passion.
Mm-hmm.
And
But it takes a team.
Speaking of this, this is what I would say before we get to that. I got to know this. All right, so you were telling us about your journey from back and forth, and then you do end up here in South Carolina. I know you were interested in music the whole time. What made you want to focus on being an artist?
It was a guy named Joe. When I came in my freshman year, I think Joe was probably one of the dopest.
Aren't you?
Well, not Joe Strowman. It's another Joe. I'm trying to think of Joe name. Joe was a Sigma, but he was chubby. He was a battle rapper.
Joe, stop
He
playing.
was like,
what's his name? I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, what's his name?
I'm trying to think of Joe's last name. It's gonna come to me later.
All right, yeah,
Joe was like one of the.
up.
Yeah, he was one of the dopest like battle rappers, and we was like, he's like, just try it. And we used to sit there, and so like that was one of my first friends when I got there.
Yeah.
So I started writing rhythm with him, and he was like, "Man, you good at it." And then I ended up meeting Brian and
There it is.
being all them, and we started doing music. And I was like, well, I have a passion for it because I always like to be around it. And that's what really helped me with the label, because I'm not one of those artists that be like, I want the attention to be on me. I want to be heard. I just want to be around good music. I always wanted to see everybody win. And I was a fan of everybody I was around.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when you're with a group and you're on a team, they'll be like, oh, yeah, you right, too. I get in on this song, So I do it. But, like, it was really, I just was happy to be there.
Man, and you know what I got to say, too, man, and thinking about it now, because, we've known each other 20 plus years now.
Yeah.
Time did that thing, ain't it, man?
Yeah. I thought about that.
Well, you know when you're old.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We were talking about this earlier this week, and one of the things that, and especially with that particular group, I don't even think people realize how many like out of that group that used to be in that part of Craig on a regular basis. How many people went and did a lot of awesome creative things.
No, you're right.
Like that circle of people that was at parties.
Yep.
Everybody was doing music.
Yeah, because the thing is, because it was Brandon. Brandon was the guy that put me on. The only reason I even made beats was because of Brandon, and he was their producer when they were the outfit.
Wow,
is that correct?
Yes, and Brandon is dope. Yeah, Brandon.
That's it. But out of that, like I said, you got LB, you got Brian, you had Marlon. I forgot Marlon's name.
Marlon has a new single coming out in January too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. Tantrums.
Who's that cat that had that studio in a shut down bank? It was like we went one night and it was like this building that was like used to be a bank or something. And they were trying to sell the bank, but then he had just like one room, like one office, and then it was just a whole bunch of foam on the walls, and it was just like this little studio. Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have been there very long because
I forgot about this.
Oh, that's the guy. He was out in West Ashley.
Yes, this is a while ago.
That's a long time ago. That was around that time though, because that was when they did the video. As a matter of fact,
because that's what happened. We went through to see somebody record there.
Yep. That's what it was.
As a matter of fact, the very first music video I witnessed, that was their music video. I seen it. Yeah.
Stop.
First time, yeah. I remember that. When y'all did the video, It's Going Down. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was legendary, man. That was legendary. Because we ain't even thinking about that, man. Like, come on, you go to school. Like I said, you're going to school with like your classmates and stuff.
Yeah,
and he's going to shoot like a professional looking music video. Man, we weren't even thinking like that.
It was crazy because people will catch you on the corner and rap your verse and they'll know you. We open up the yin yang that time. It was crazy.
That was like, I think that was probably like the best homecoming ever, was that yin yang one.
No, that was dope.
Yeah.
That was legendary. That was legendary.
That's crazy. That was the first time. Well, that was the second time. I was like, yeah, I really want to do this.
Yep.
I think the first time we had a St. Philip's, it was a house party and we had a live band in somebody's living room. And we performed for a live band and I was like, this is dope. Like, I've never seen anybody do this. Like, this is the college experience. This is it.
Man, they don't realize COC.
No, this is legendary. I'm not gonna lie. People still be talking about this stuff to this day. I talk that, I try to keep in touch with everybody and we talk about these things. This stuff has not been wasted on time. People still remember this stuff. And that experience that was around that era, it was something else. It was totally different, man. Totally different. And speaking of that, it leads right into this next point. Hip hop artists, they often have a persona that they present to their audience. In addition, many people view artists in a polarized manner. Either you're relatable or and loved, or you're fake and hated, regardless of your talent. And I had to ask you this, LB, because of course you have to have a persona. And being that you understand the vibe of up north and how their personas work, how that vibes with how they become artists and how the personas down south are. What misconceptions have you encountered during your career as an artist dealing with having a persona and having a real life and how people perceive you?
It's all a misconception. I would say that be yourself. Like, all of it is just not it. And when you try to follow a mold and a trend, usually the trend they try to impose on you, like you got to have jewelry, you got to be this kind of rapper.
Yep.
All this stuff here, it's for that time period. And you can never provide a wave if you're riding a wave, because by the time you got it, it's almost expired.
Right.
And so music is new. And so that's something that came about actually doing music so long. You see how people try to do this and people want designer, and then it comes to it, nobody wants the designer. Like, you want to be the first. And the easiest way to be the first is to be yourself. You'd be amazed at how many people go through the same things because we're all human. And it took a while to realize this, but really being yourself gets you your core fan base, your Tyler, the creators, the everybody. They're still not looked at as something everybody wants to be, but I bet you they got a fan base.
True. Good point.
Everybody doesn't have to be G. Like,
you remember that era, right? Everybody wanted to be Trapper extraordinaire.
4 times a
Then you in jail crying like Rollo and just like, it doesn't work like that. Like, being somebody else is not how you make it in this world. And so,
and that's outside of music. That's outside of music.
Oh yeah,
too.
that's
outside of music.
Yeah. Yeah. So when they see it, really, if you put yourself as a hardworking person, there's always people on both sides of the spectrum. And some people will be like, man, he work every day like me. And then there's other people who be like, oh, he's lame. He got a regular job. He do this. Why should I follow him? But the people who's going to work and that feel his struggle, they're listening to him more now because they're actually going through the same thing that he goes through. And that really makes music easier because it's more emotional. It's less technical because you're really talking about your frustrations, your happiness, and your fans relate to you. Like, that's all you really want to be, is relatable. And that's it. But people try to go make hits. They try to go in the studio and try to do this. Like, all of that stuff is, I would say, perception-wise, it's not needed. Be yourself. And your cadence and all that stuff comes from working with real engineers and real producers and actually putting something together. Like, people want to just make beats and they want to get the beats and then they want to just write on their own. But it's really when everybody works together that they make the magic.
Yeah. Sometimes those perspectives balance out the stuff we don't see because we all got blind spots.
Yeah. all the time.
And yeah, I totally agree with that. It's something that we don't think about when we watch, bigger production stuff like movies and that kind of thing. It's not just the writer. It's not just the actor.
Mm-hmm.
There's like
Whole groups
100 people that went in making that thing not
Seriously.
suck. Right?
Making sure lighting's good, that the costumes look right, that they're on the right scenes and set areas to get it done.
An album is smaller, but not a whole lot.
It's not. Still same thing. It still takes a small universe to make that work. And man, you made a really good point about this. You said people trying to go in there and make a hit.
Yeah.
Right.
Could you explain that to our audience, like what that means? Because I know what you're talking about, but if you could explain that to our audience, because I know our audience, it's a very diverse group. Could you explain to them what you mean by like just going in there trying to make a hit?
They go with trends. Like let's say F&F, the girl Glorilla, that got signed. She have that one good song and everybody picked it up. Everybody wants one song that everybody instantly be like, oh, I love that song. Yep. So they're going in with the intention of mimicking something that's close or putting out a sound that they feel like that's going to make it. Instead of being genuine or being who they are, they're going to, I want to write a song about this because this is what everybody's talking about right now. Right. I'm going to catch the wave. And so when I post it, even if they're thinking a little deeper, I'm going to catch the algorithms. And if they're watching this, they're going to watch me too because I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
go on social media.
Yeah, but being the third person to do the same thing is really the problem we have now. And that's why a lot of the music sounds the same. Yeah. Nobody wants to be original. Nobody wants to be themselves anymore. Everybody wants to be behind a computer with an avatar and they want to create what everybody else sees. So real world doesn't work like that. And it's horrible when people have their own persona. Then when you meet people in real life, it's like, oh, this is who you are. How you doing?
Yo, do you have an example of one of them experiences when you met somebody and you had, because look, you're the position you're in, I know you have to meet these personas.
I hate to say that, but I can't. I'm going to say it. So we had the show when I was with my group, KRT Cartel, Columbia. And we started doing the tours and we went to Miami and we was in Atlanta and everything. And we had the AC3. So we met a lot of people, but Chingy got in the elevator with us. We're going up, and I say, dang, Chingy fell off. One year ain't going to be nothing below, and then like a couple years later, you can be like, dang, I wanted the handyman $10, and I felt, dang,
oh, Lord.
And we in the W, like, I don't even think he was going to the after party. I was like, dang, like.
I got to go back to the room.
Yeah.
Order some room service. Because they paying
reality,
for it.
Reality is totally different. And the more you get into music, you learn that artists aren't always artists. And it's management and it's a lot of people they pay. So even though they look like they're doing well, a lot of times they're back into the deal. Everybody's taking the biggest percentage because they're paying for everything. And so I can't even blame him because I don't even know if he even put anything behind his music. He might have just been in the back of the label.
Right. True. The face that they tack on to the things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you coming at it from an artist perspective, like there's something about being an artist that you gotta like pull this thing out of you and put it out there into the world. You know what I'm saying? But it sounds like you've always been business minded. I guess. I mean, that's something that I know from everybody from New York. That's kind of a thing, right?
Some business in here. You got to make that money.
Right. So like the balance of that and deciding at what point everybody talks about selling out like it's this point where at some point they sit you down in a room and they're like, all right, so here's what we're going to do.
Sign this here.
You're going to sign this and then we're going to tell you what to say and then you're going to do it and that's how it's going to be.
Because you sold out.
But it's not like that. It's it's trying to make that hit. It's trying to follow that wave without being a part of it kind of thing. But and part of that is like maintaining your ownership, not just in your copyrights and your royalties and that kind of thing, but actually just like that it's your expression and not somebody else's. Like what are some of the difficulties that you've faced, like trying to balance that while starting your own business, trying to get to income streams and still maintain kind of that heart of the artist?
But you got to eat. Right. You can't be an artist and be dead.
I think it's hard for me to speak on that one because I've still always maintained a business mindset. And as an artist, they want to own everything. But honestly, like, if you don't have a fan base, if you don't invest your own money into it, you can't really own it. Like, and I think I've just recently watched the Kevin Hart and Jay-Z interview. And he was saying, like, Steve Jobs might have owned, like, 2% of Apple, like, or 5%. It was some low percent because a percentage of a big amount, low percentage of a big amount is better than 100% of nothing.
Right.
And so people will keep,
good point.
People keep all their percentages to say, well, I can't give nobody nothing. I'm not going to give nobody nothing. And then it goes nowhere because you don't have the funds for it.
Did you hear some horror story of somebody getting screwed out of their royalties or whatever? But then, like, if you never were going to make it anyway, like, what's wrong with kind of selling off a little bit of it to make the bigger bucks?
There you go.
Exactly.
You got to cash out at some time. You can't keep You can't keep playing the roulette wheel.
You can't. And I understand, like, a 10, 20-year deal, like, when it's something crazy, but like
when does that happen?
All your royalties. Yeah. But you got to really think, like, people work jobs for 10 years and have nothing to show for it.
Yeah,
it's true.
Like, you
Make
could
that
be in a
point.
whole
Say that
work
again.
position.
Say that one more time. People work jobs for 10 years, nothing to show. And they say that somebody sold out as an artist.
But you're mad because this person put millions of dollars to invest in your career, and then they got more millions. Like, they doubled their money, but they made all the gamble on you. Like with the Lil Wayne situation, like, I really got to think, like, this man has been investing on this man and taking care of him for 10 years before you made hits. So now that you make hits, you want all the money, but you got to think of all the money, all the jewelry, all the cars, everything since early high school that he invested in.
He was 16 years old with platinum chains, riding his stretch PT Cruisers.
Stretch? Yeah, my fault. I almost forgot about that. Stretch P2 Cruisers. Those were a thing.
You wasn't selling that many brackets back then.
No, he wasn't.
Looking out for you at the label.
No, he wasn't.
Right. So now that they come back for their money, it's like, it's business. So like everything you do with the label, they give you a loan. And it's not just that they want to make hits, but they want a return on their money. If you get a business loan, anything else, you got to have a plan. And you got to return on this money. Like, so,
well, you're taking a risk.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. You're definitely taking a risk.
You know, 16-year-old man, how many 16-year-old rappers done died before they made it big?
I was about to say, you talking about making an investment on, look, this is one reason why now in the music industry, when they sign you to a deal, people don't know this, they take out a life insurance policy.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. And I understand why. Because like you said, it comes down to business. It's not a personal thing. It's not that they're trying to bank on you dying. But if you see how the music atmosphere is out here, especially going back to personas, these personas that are being placed off. If your persona is that you're a gun-toting hooligan, I'm putting out $1 million life insurance policy on you as soon as I get you signed. Because if for some reason you don't make it or you fall off or you say for some instance you die,
you got to recoup
that money because I went ahead and put $1 million on you anyway. I have to make sure I can get that money back. And that's, like I said, it sounds real crazy, but that's business.
You got to protect your investment.
All times, yep.
Got to.
Yep. That's part of being an adult.
Right. But artists, on the artist side, they see it as they're the most important commodity. Nothing can happen without me. This is my song. This is my talent. This is my blood, sweat, and tears. Like,
yo, LB, everybody gonna hate on you after this. LB, you don't want to hear that. No one want to hear that.
Man. No,
Well, I mean, in a way, it's true. That's the producer, but not the producer, but the producer of the good.
Of the good,
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also got like some Milli Vanilli shit and like everything that's on the radio. Like they could just find another one if that's all they're looking for, you know?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But if Michael Jordan didn't go to college, who's Michael Jordan?
That's true.
Give it to him, That thing
you have all the talent. It's a lot of talented people at home.
Yeah. Oh, man. Can you, all right, that's something I do want you to, if you can explain how you understand this, and this is something we always conversate about. You have people who literally, they are a gold mine of talent, but they literally have they have the size of a mustard grain. So see, like mustard
seed.
That's
all you need, bro.
That's all you need. But you ready? But they don't have the potential of the mustard seed. This is the size of it. That's their work ethic. But they have a gold mine of talent. Could you explain how you've seen that in your career thus far, and as you've been working as a CEO, the importance of having that balance?
I see it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so at first, when you start out and you're kind and you're willing to do 120% for everybody and put your all in, and then you stop for a second and everything stops, I've learned that the work ethic is the most important thing. I'll take somebody that's not as talented, but really believes in it and really willing to work at it before I take somebody that's super dope and everybody loves and then you can't catch them for another month or two. Or like they got to smoke or not smoke, but like they just slate everything and they just ain't got it. Like I got to see the work ethic. And sometimes life will hit people and they'll get it. And then they'll come back with their work ethic. So I never give up on anybody.
That's
but
a good point. I give you that.
I got to see the work ethic. Like if I don't see the work ethic, then I got too many things going on. I'm always doing 2 or 3 things. So like I can't invest more time into somebody else than they investing in themselves. I can't believe in anybody more than they believe in themselves.
Have you had to give up on artists?
I won't say give up because I still never given up on anybody, but
you ain't gonna drag people.
I have stopped working with people, but if I stop working with you completely and I don't work with you later on, it's because I saw something in you that was just going to be detrimental or more of a liability for business later on that I'm just not willing to be a part of because we're all brands. So all money isn't good money.
Okay.
So yeah, if you got somebody that's willing to do something or they're doing extra stuff, no matter how they interact with you, that still falls back on you because that they see you with this first.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I'm a father and everything I do has to make sense. So I'm not just going to go be a part of something just to be a part of something. Like I have to believe in it and I have to believe in the person. So no matter how talented we are as far as music and we love music, if you have a different set of morals, a different set of character, or I just see something that's going to be not beneficial for not just me, but everybody around me fall out, I assess risk with everything, and then I move differently. Like you couldn't pay me to go to a middle of a trap club in the middle of like Chicago. Like what? And I don't know nobody there.
Thank you. I just want our audience to hear that logical statement you made.
Right. It got to make sense.
Yes. Come on.
But that's why they want younger rappers too, because like the older you get, the more grown, the better you see. So other genres, it doesn't matter age because it's the content. They don't want content, but they're going to push the younger artist because he's going to be willing to go and risk. And then worst case scenario, we cash in this life insurance policy. We'll be all right.
It's terrible, but that's how it is.
I like hearing it real raw like that because that's the truth. And that's what I always want the young folks, especially with this podcast, our big thing is about educating people. And you can't educate people by lying to them and by sugarcoating. And that is the realest thing you could look. I tell people all the time, I'm gonna be a such and such. I'm doing this. I'm gonna do this, etc. I said, okay, well, you better have all of your chips together. You got to have all of your business plans together because I'm sure whoever you're gonna be dealing with, they're gonna have a plan for you.
Right.
If you don't have one for yourself, they're gonna have one for you. So please have your stuff together.
That is one upside to trying to do everything yourself is you realize how much everything really is.
True.
And then when people are like, well, we'll take this aspect off of your hands, you're kind of like, hey, okay. All right. Here you go. I didn't want to promote anyway. That was a pain in the ass.
You can do that.
Right.
So we we all kind of make transitions in our careers and start doing other things. And you've been getting into a lot more content creation and podcasting and that kind of thing. And I was wondering if you could kind of like tell us a little bit about that journey and, what interested you in doing that form of production.
Okay. Well, with the times, I understand visuals are definitely important. They took out MTV and the videos they used to have, but there are other ways people want to see. Like everything on social media is visuals now. So like podcasts and all of that stuff is another way that you can communicate who you are to the people without, spending $1,000 on a music video and trying to make sure everybody comes on time, feeding people. It's a lot easier. So I believe that podcasts are a lot better outlet to getting who you are as an artist and connecting with your core audience.
I agree.
This portion of the podcast is brought to you by Lynx Recording Studio. Lynx is a premier audio and video recording studio in the greater Charleston area. With 4 completely different booths, multiple peripherals, and 4 producers, they have the ability to service all facets of audio and video creativity. If you need to record a song, a podcast, create a demo, or even take headshots and complete drops for a Hollywood film, we've done it. Call us at 843-879-9386 or search us online at lynxrecordingstudios.com. That's LYNX recordingstudios.com.
My biggest thing is now I love the camera. I always love the videos. I always love to write the treatments, and to see a video come together is beautiful. So like, why not just do the podcast and actually get the actual message out there? And so we tried it. I think I had Ramel and I had an idea for it. I said, I want to talk about topics. And I know a lot of people that's not into entertainment in regular life that have the personality. I think Bree and Rich,
yep,
that's how they are in regular life. Like, we'll all be sitting there playing cards. And that's it. I was like, y'all funny. Why don't we just do this on straight?
Right.
And give people a glimpse? Because when I traveled to LA and I travel a lot, I didn't see the difference between Tyler Pratt and people I saw at the call center. It's just that they're in LA, so they had an opportunity to be seen.
Right.
That's real.
We don't have as much of an opportunity. So, like, we have the personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Why not give them a chance to actually broadcast? They were comfortable with it. Let's do it. And that's how it started.
Nice.
And from there, I was able to build more relationships, build with other people because they saw it. And then that's where I met my other friend Swift, and he was like, well, I got an idea. I know everybody in Columbia. I'm from 48. We can do all the artists that's already getting paid shows, all the big artists that's already going, and they already got movement. And I was like, let's do it. So we sat and wrote it out. And now that we have access to everybody, I'm not from Columbia, so I'm not affiliated with this side of town or anybody in particular. So now you have motion. I see you doing shows. And it's just like they did with Kanye documentary, where I can just walk up to people and be like, hey, I want to, I want you to tell your story. People are happy to tell it.
Yeah.
It's just that people feel like people hate on me and people don't want to talk about it. I'm doing shows and nobody's recognizing it. And I just wanted to feel that. I seen the gap and I was like, well, hey, I'll come and we'll interview you. Like, let's go. I see you already getting paid shows. Are you free this week to do an interview?
Yeah.
And people come. People come. So
people want to be seen.
Yeah.
They want to.
Well, especially if you're an artist, you're trying to get it out, especially to your local community. And this is like what we used to listen to on Shaquille's show back in the day.
Playing. You're telling
That's
the
what I'm
truth.
saying.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
but the
You're
radio
right.
stations stopped doing all that shit because now it's just a bunch of computers running shit on repeat.
right.
Nah, he's so
I mean,
right.
it is.
That hurt my
Like
feelings.
the local DJ, that's what they did is
Yeah.
they were the community there. And so as soon as they started like pre-recording all their shit and only doing what came from,
From the top.
down,
Mhm.
then all of that died,
We used to be there, from 7 to 10 o'clock every night. Listening
Yeah.
to their stuff.
And
I
in
used to
every market,
record-
everybody
in
had their own.
I
That
used
was
to
how they all
record
were.
it on
Yeah.
the tape. I used to record it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah,
passed some
record
shits
it.
around. Oh, it's Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
We just gonna record.
Think nobody don't record the radio no more. You don't record the radio.
They don't.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Good Lord, that's a good point.
But
Great.
yeah, podcast takes that place.
Mm-hmm. It
Yeah.
does.
It does. It does. And like, man, it's so much you can access in a person with the right questions and everything. And so people will watch a bunch of podcasts with a person to figure out who they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important in this next. So why not? Like I feel like that's what's next. That's what's new. So be a part of it. So that's what really pushed me to go toward podcasting. I built the studio. I did the music so we have access. We built that out. And the other side, I was like, I do green screen in case we do videos in here, but I'll set it up for podcasting also. We'll try that and get that together.
Smart.
And
Very
so,
smart move.
and I actually started it to rent it out to photographers and engineers so that we have a spot. Because I'll do a video and people got to go to McDonald's to get Wi-Fi, take me months to get my video back.
Oh Lord,
Their computer had so like low memory, it took forever to render. So
Yeah.
and I want to throw this out there. Micro Center in Atlanta. They get your computer built. You can get the fastest AMD chip, whatever.
Good drop.
Yes. Yes. I went and got a state of the art with 2 4 terabyte, like, SSD, like for the music. And I got one for the visual with 112 RAM.
Heck
so now, like, we have it. We just need people with talent.
Yo, seriously, real talk. Is this at the studio?
Yeah, that's at the studio.
Drop your studio. How did they contact you?
We're going to talk about that one.
Okay,
yeah, mention T Studios, but we slowed down on the studios because I opened the club.
Got you. Okay, we'll get to that.
But the biggest thing was, like, people don't have it, and this is what's hindering people. Let's go ahead and provide everything they need and see if we can get the people to come work.
Okay.
And that's when you realize people use excuses more than actual things that's in front of them. Because you can have everything and they'll be like, I can't make it today. I can't do this. Like, okay, if the video took this long with your computer, I get the same exact software. I get all the plugins and get everything here, and we'll have it here. And let's just set it up. Get your key to the studio.
Yeah.
Can we get it done in a faster time frame? And then it was something else and then something else.
Yeah.
And so I'm really in the space now where if I'm not,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not over it. Like, I do all the podcasting myself. Like, I'll pull up the cards from the road and from my Sony camera.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in, I'll upload it, I'll organize it. I already got the template for the background.
Yeah.
And then I'll at least lip sync. And then I'll come back the next day and I'll go ahead and knock it out myself. Because it's hard. And then I feel like the more that I do it, the more I'm around other podcasting people, I meet people that are good at it.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about everything. You can't it's harder to just look, because we're not in Atlanta and we're not in LA, where people have the financial freedom to just be like, hey, you know what? I don't care about nothing else. I'm just going to edit for the rest of my life, and this is what I'm going to do.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, people have to work, people have lives. So
take care of the children. Come on.
Right. So the more I work on it, the more I'll meet people that are serious about it, and it'll come together. But it takes me doing my part, my due diligence. I can't just be like, I'm going to build it and they're going to come. You still got to do the work. Mm-hmm. So people don't know I have that, or I do podcasting if I don't put a podcast out there. If I don't do the work, my
dreams. You was on your field of dreams too, boy.
Right.
Man, I'm angry. I'm angry for you, because, like, no, you just made it so make it easy for them to do work. I'd have been over there all the time. Shoot,
that's it.
God darn it, bro. Yeah, that hurts your feelings right there.
It does. And the funny thing is, as things come to have motion and people start paying attention more, then people call you back or they try to come by.
I'm awake again. I see what's going on. Can I stop by?
Yeah.
Right. And I don't take it personal. It's
like
my
Chicken
dreams
Little.
Are everybody else's dream.
It's like Chicken Little. You made that bomb loaf of bread. You got that strawberry jam, and now the cow wants some. You don't ask the cow if you want to help.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Exactly.
But your vision is, people have sight but not vision. People don't always see a vision. Mm-hmm. And so it's okay for everybody not to see what you see. That's what makes everybody special. Like, they'll see it eventually. Like, people didn't think Kanye was going to be Kanye when I saw the documentary.
Yeah.
Everybody might not see your vision. So it's okay for everybody not to see your vision. It's just you're working toward your vision. As long as you do what you're supposed to do, everything will fall in place when it's supposed to. I don't take it personally.
That's a good mindset to have, especially in the industry that you're working in. You're going to be dealing with some fickle personalities. You're going to have some people who are actually consistent and genuine. You're going to have people who do have work ethic, and you have people that don't, that still want to be in the area. And I always tell people this is a weird thing about this industry. There's a vibe around it that attracts people like a moth to light. It doesn't mean that they actually want to be a part of it and actually do work and et cetera, but they want to be there to be around.
You want to be in the studio.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You want to smell it. You know what I mean?
You want to be there when the magic's getting made.
Say it.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. You feed off of that shit too, man.
But it don't mean that they don't do no work.
And then you don't even have to risk putting your ass out on the stage. You can just sit there and soak it all up from behind.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. So it's a weird balance to have. Like, do you think that is, especially when you're creating content, you got to have their energy around, because you want to have people's energy, because that's what makes everything flow. Do you think there's a balance there to having those people around and to also not having them there so that you can focus and get the job done? Do you think there's a need for those type of people, or do you think it is totally unnecessary?
Well, it's really based on what you're shooting for. I vote for chemistry, so I'm not even going to do it if I feel like the chemistry doesn't work.
Okay.
Like, I have to have the complete vision of the chemistry before we start. and I can see it. So it's harder when you're trying to sculpt somebody to be someone. I don't really do movies yet. So to give somebody a script and have them imprompt is different from, I know that these two natural people, that's what they do. Yeah. I just know they might not even know each other. So I just know, let me put them in the room and see how it goes. And that's how the magic happens. Your personnel is one of the biggest, and everything comes back to business. Yeah. Like, you see talent in people and you put people where they're supposed to be so that they can perform at their best, not try to make one person do 5 different jobs.
Like
it
Bill
doesn't
Belichick.
Work that way.
You got to do like Bill Belichick.
Exactly.
You got to do your job. I just need you to block that gap. That's it. Don't do nothing else.
That's it. That's it. That's all. So when I put people in the room, I know what people are, and people are distractions or other people. I don't want to put you in the same room. Call you back later. Like, this session is for you. The next one is. Right. That's it. Because it's got to be productive. Like, it's been a while since I've been in the studio all day. You know what we came to do? We want to do 3 or 4 songs. We already got everything loaded up. Let's get it done. Let's do it and make it work. Get on through.
Right. So like,
and it has to be, we got to be professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. The muse is at home.
Yeah.
And then when you come to the studio and, and if there's somebody that is putting that extra bit in there, then probably they need a credit on the track somewhere. Right.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah.
So is it like, so you're telling me that, and this makes sense too, and I can understand this. You've had a maturation from where, because I know how this is, from where you go to the studio, it's a place that you go to hang out, it's a fun environment, to now where that is literally, like you're saying, that is your business office. You're going in there to clock in and then clock out. You aren't going there to literally hang out and have fun.
Right.
You're on Tupac level now, where you're like, hey, what are y'all doing in here? We
ain't writing in the studio.
Yeah,
we showing up to get it done.
Exactly. It's already done. You don't come here and hang out.
Right. And it's easier to chill and hang out if you're not paying the light bill or the air conditioner. Right. Fixing the $600.
Thank you. These are expenses.
I bet you are comfortable. Right.
He said, I bet you are comfortable.
Right.
Hey, let me roll another blunt up, man. Nah, bro.
Right.
Do this work. That electric costs money. Like, serious.
Exactly.
That is real. A question, do you think that ties into you growing up and like having a family? Did that cause that change as well, where you had to look at it differently? Or did it occur before?
Nah, because having a family definitely changed everything.
Right. See, that's what I was wondering. That's what I was wondering.
Overdrive.
Yeah.
But really people wasting your time. Like, I'm going to do something once, but I'm not going to keep making the same mistake. So
good.
People can't waste your time, but so many times and be like, all right, now I've been through this. So you be serious now.
Look, I got to go pick the kid up in 2 hours. So you got to get this shit together.
He's like, we can't keep
I got a hard
in.
deadline here.
Yep. You say you need some one-take wonders to come in there, knock that thing out and keep moving.
That's it.
Yep,
like, we sing the song with vibe, and like, I believe music is something that you don't want to force. So everybody got to get to their comfort level. I try to make it comfortable. Like, if we all writing and we all getting it together, some people sit in the podcast part, like just separate room, everything. Like,
got you.
I want everybody to feel comfortable, but we got to work. We got to have a deadline. You got to be professional, because we want to treat it just like if Diddy's in the room or whatever. He wants you to hit the song. He going to put this playing song and you think he's going to sit with you for 6-7 hours?
No.
No. At all.
He got a boat he need to be on somewhere. Partying it up. He ain't going to be with you.
I need a train to catch in Paris.
Yep. There you go.
Right. I need my time respected just like him. He breathe and he just like me. He made a way just like I am. So therefore, we're going to treat it as such. That's how it's got to be.
So talking about, I mean, you've got multiple podcasts that you do, and then of course, I'm sure every artist you work with has kind of got their own community and market that they're hitting. How do you deal with, I guess, like targeting down and deciding who your audience is for each of these things? Is it something you just kind of like let happen on its own, or do you kind of move it one way or another? How's that work?
Well, we start with a plan. So let's say raw melanin, I like the relationship part. I like the back and forth between male and the female. So that was what we geared it toward. So whatever people attracted as far as different topics, we kind of geared a little bit more toward it as far as TikTok and everything. I said everything uniform. But we start with a point of attack and then we adjust based on our reactions we get.
Hmm.
And, you know, the no cut is real easy because it's just musicians being interviewed. And so if there's stuff going on in the city, or we got people like Corey LeBou that do the wings, we had them come on because they already have motion. And so that music, food, music, like everything goes together.
All goes together.
DJs, everything. So like, that's pretty easy because everybody already knows them. And the people who don't, that's trying to get into the music because they're young, they want to figure out what they're talking about. So like, it makes it a lot easier to spread the message that way. So that's really a given. But my thing is, okay, once we get this market completely, this will be an avenue to show everybody, the world, what's going on in South Carolina. Because people think LA and Nipsey and all that, but when you go there, they be like, this is it. They still got clothes hangers everywhere. Like Inglewood, they still got like the bars outside the projects and all of this stuff here.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
It ain't that glamorous.
It's not a lot more. Yeah, it's not a lot more than South Carolina. It's just that they're more publicized. When people get to see it, they be like, oh, wow, that's what South Carolina got going on now. They got all these people.
And I mean, is that just because they have like established record labels that are there and they already have the infrastructure and all of that to make their sound be heard? Is that?
That, and they have more of a collective unit. When you go to Oakland, you're going to see more of home businesses being popular than Pizza Hut. Like, nobody's going to go to Pizza Hut. You got a real Pizza Hut, Italian place on the street. And they support their own. Like, it's a lot of, you know.
The money cycles through
the business made in Oakland.
Yeah.
We might see a lot of that happen now post-COVID, man. A lot of these chain restaurants are falling apart.
That's what I like about post-COVID is that your communal bases are getting way more established and popularized. Because, I mean, like, I'll put it like this, especially during COVID, what you realized is, man, we do have the same thing. Everything I want is already here. I just haven't been paying attention to it. And so the same things you were getting outside or you were having to go and import, man, you have that same opportunity and it's right around the corner from you. And you had no other choice but to use it. So I think that force of having to use those local items and even frequent your local businesses and deal with your local artists and craftspeople and stuff like that, I think it's been a great boom for the economy. And it's helped us in the sense of what there's something called a mature economy. What a mature economy is when you take that money that is local and it cycles back through that same society over and over.
Doesn't show on the Dow Jones.
It don't.
Because they're not publicly traded companies.
Exactly.
But we still eating here.
Yeah, we're eating and we're feeling it. And it's good for us.
Right. It's definitely good. And the biggest thing that we have to concentrate here and hold each other accountable for is customer service. Because just because
Claude
it's
Anderson,
our business
number one thing.
doesn't mean you can.
Service.
You can't run out of food if you start a restaurant every day. Like, I understand things happen. Sometimes you get busy, but not every day. Like, you have to have the same customer service that Chick-fil-A had.
Yeah.
I want to go to you over Chick-fil-A, and your food might be better because you took your time with it. But you have to plan and treat it like a business as such. Like, once we got customer service down, I feel like people feel more comfortable going to, like, home-based businesses than the big companies.
I agree. And I think a lot of it too, and I'm glad you guys are kind of tagging on the customer service piece. I think another thing we also got to be mindful of too in our community, especially when it comes to that, is another thing about customer service. And I'm glad you brought up Chick-fil-A is there's a consistency with customer service. Not necessarily a supply, but the way people are treated. And I know a lot of times in our community, we struggle with, when it comes on a business front, of treating every customer at the same level. Because sometimes, and I know just...
Oh, my Lord, yes.
Because it can mean, from anything, and you know this, it can mean anything from, like I said, a brick and mortar restaurant to doing a podcast, right? Well, unfortunately, a lot of us, we treat people based on where we see them at or how we see them benefiting us.
There you go. The monetary.
Right? The monetary part, right? Or even just the promotion part. Like, you can go into several times I've been in the restaurants and I've seen it myself and I've been on different ends of it where as I'll get one type of like interaction and I'll see someone get a totally different interaction.
Immediately.
Right? Immediately. Right? Because It might be something that might be going on. Whoever's back there, that's the cashier or who's working. There's a lot of things they might be going through that we don't know about, right?
True.
But it might be, like I said, but I might trigger something, and then, or they might see it a certain way, and then I'm treated totally different than somebody else. Then and then, like I said, I might come in and they're triggered by the person that's right in line behind me.
Yep.
And they act a totally different way. And that happens a lot in our engagement, in our interactions with each other when it comes to that level. Even when it comes to, like I said, and you know this too, even when it comes to content creation, right? Just reaching out, building connections and building relationships with people in order to support people. Because, you know, sometimes there's a big, I don't even want to say it, there can be an issue with trust sometimes and credibility, because it's like if somebody reaches out to you, like, okay, well, what does this person want from me?
Because it's been done so many times before. Yeah.
You know, is this person trying to take advantage of me? You know, well, how do I need to respond to them? How do I need to deal with them?
How they saying that? Oh, they trying to eat up off me, man. You trying to get bread up off me, cuz. Like, no, man. Like, that's not, everybody ain't like that. But we've been trained. We've been conditioned to that. And I'm so happy you said that, because I like good customer service, man. And
it's gone out the window.
Yeah.
Like you can't do,
no.
We walk in the bank now and be like, and they're like, well, you got to call this 800 number. And I'm like, what the fuck is your purpose?
Yeah.
There?
No,
why are you here?
Exactly. Right.
Nah, I'm going to tell you like this, LB. This is something funny that you said that, because I can harp on customer service all day. I work at an orthopedic office, and at the orthopedic office, we have, customers they call and et cetera. They have issues. I was talking to this gentleman, he's 71 years old. Pick up the phone. We're in the merge right now. So he was like, hey, blah, 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 I got this going on, et cetera, et cetera. I said, okay, what I'm supposed to tell this guy right now, technically, is he's supposed to call back at this other number, because this is who's actually going to assist him, right? He's not supposed to call him through the number. He called him through the back line where physicians are supposed to call, the emergency room, right? Mm-hmm. I told the guy, I said, man, I ain't gonna do you like that, brother. I said, what you need, man? Let's get you right. He said, wow. He said, man, you don't exist no more. There ain't no more of y'all. He said, you really gotta help me? I said, yeah, why would I not? Man, I helped this gentleman out. I got off the phone with him. He said, man, stay in school and don't drink whiskey. He said, you a good brother, man. You a good brother. And I could tell from that interaction right then, like you said, that stuff just doesn't exist.
Oh, no. Did you get in trouble for it?
Nah.
Yeah, I ain't getting in trouble monitoring you like that. But some places
will monitor you, and they won't let you do that. They will not let you give great customer service like that. And so when you're talking about the industry that we're in and what we do, you got to imagine if that's what you get at an office that's supposed to be giving you assistance with injuries.
Right.
Man, no one gonna care about you. You're talking about music and food and up here doing stuff for fun. You're gonna get even worse customer service normally. So the fact that you take that as a paramount in what you do, LB, is magnificent. Yeah. That's excellent. That's a great foundation and a way to continue building growth, and something that I know the people around you that you do business with, they see it and it affects you positively more than likely.
It does. It does.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely does.
Now, where did you realize, or when did you realize that was important?
Trying to think of when did I?
Because ain't nobody teach me that at the club when I was DJing at the club, LB. Ain't nobody teach me that.
I really gelled everything together. I try to find something absolute or universal understanding of everything I do. And I always think everything is based on respect. Everything is like, when you grew up, like that was one of the Southern things, like you have manners.
That's what I was waiting for you to say.
Everything works.
Yep.
Right.
Being in the
So
South.
like, I really applied it to everything. Like, if you're not aware of what's going on, then that's one thing. But once you know that, this interaction in front of me or behind me could change everything. It's not me, but this person might be going through anything. Then you don't take it as personal.
Gotcha.
And so you're there to just provide whatever you can, and that's it. You can't do but so much as a person. Sometimes people are traumatized. Sometimes people have other stuff going on in their mind. Mm-hmm. That has nothing to do with you. You can only do your best and move forward, keep good energy. And so I think I've always been kind of myself, but when I had a child, you really start to look at everything in a broader picture. I did.
Preach.
Yeah.
Yep. And especially for our generation, that's something that I think needs to be, it has to be pressed. That's an issue that has to be pressed. And I agree to that, especially coming into this age. One of the things I know is like generational change and even change as you progress in age. You must mature. You have to take those lessons with you. Because I know we did knucklehead things when I was younger that, shoot, we ain't getting away with now. We definitely shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And if we were still doing those same activities and actions, we wouldn't be where we are now. And that's something I know for the youth coming up, I do want them to know. And then also, I know for where we're at and how we're trying to move forward and the people that we want to deal with in the future, this has to be something that is understood. And they have to see us as mature, business savvy individuals. And I know that's real. It's weird talking like that, man.
You're talking about faking the funk to a whole bunch of.
It sounds
burn this motherfucker to the ground.
Yo, you remember that, Elvis? You remember how real we had to used to be? How real you had to be?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Keeping it real goes wrong.
Right. There was better ways to handle that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm happy. Like I said, man, it's cool to hear, especially, how you say, to hear your peers understanding that and moving forward on that. Man, that's a beautiful thing, bro. That is a beautiful thing.
And I guess with that said, and I guess transition to this next part, and one of the big things about why we do the podcast is we always like to talk to people about, of course, what it is what they do creatively and how they're known in the public and in the community. But also, we want to bring it back to really, what's important. And that's that maintain, trying to achieve work-life balance. Not saying that it's always perfect, but especially when it comes to a family. Because, as creatives, with a lot of projects, we also, while we got those projects going on, we're also trying to stay involved with other aspects of our life. Of course, with the kids, if you got a spouse, partner, and of course, and then your family and your friends. And I know sometimes that can be a lot for people to handle, to where there's sacrifices that may be made. And unfortunately, people feel like they have to choose one thing over another.
Yep.
In order to whatever goal that they desire to achieve. But one of the things is I've noticed, and like I said, because, we've known each other for years and stuff, is I know that you're somebody that's very involved in your son's life. And at the same time, you still take care of your business.
Exactly.
And so I guess the thing is, how have you been able to remain consistently active in not only your son's life, but also in building your brand?
Sleep.
That's the realest answer.
Yes.
It's not a lot
of sleep. Not a lot of sleep. Like I had this whole interview. I'm sitting outside the fence watching my son's football game.
I heard it in the background. That's what I was about to ask you. I was like, yo, what game are you at right now?
Right. So like his game started at 11. So I had to be here. I waved to him. He had fun. So he with his mom now. I'm about to head back and do some editing from Erica Vaughn's video that I did and get her songs together.
Yep.
It's just, you have to be organized and you have to have a schedule. And I think that's the best way to do it. You start out with a checklist, and really, it's not a lot of time for yourself. You have to set aside some time for yourself. That's my vacations. But outside of that, most of my week and days are working and getting stuff together every day. And sometimes people are like, well, you work too much. But then I think about it, and Diddy does more than me. And he has a lot more. Like all the billionaires.
How many children? He done stole people's children. He got people.
I'll be sure still his son.
These people have a lot more. Right. They doing whatever they want to do, but they're doing the work.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, I can't do less work than them and expect to have anything. Like, it doesn't work like that.
It don't.
So I really got to try to outwork them with my resources that I have. So the best that I can do is make sure I get up with a schedule, eat properly, drink a lot of water, and be responsible. I can't get drunk and be up and get work done.
No,
like it's just not going to work. We got to grow up and we got to make sure that we're keeping the important thing important and giving your family your time, along with making sure that you're conducting business as a profession.
Man, I like hearing that you said that. Like, for real, I told you, you can't be out here wilding. You can't do that and get work done properly. Nah,
you can't.
It don't work. We thought we was doing it back in the day. Nah, G, you weren't doing it.
Right.
He's putting the game on hard mode for no reason.
For no reason. You're right.
Duke Nukem, what's the hardest mode called? I forgot what it's called. It was like crazy stupid.
It was something.
Yeah, it was like extreme mode. Yeah, like, nah, you can't do that.
That's not how it works.
No, it's not. Make it easier on yourself, man. Especially, and I know we're going to start seeing a lot of that right now, too. This is a side note on this, but with the baby boomer generation moving to where they're moving, we're going to see a lot of this because I always hate to say this, but they didn't do a really good job of taking care of their health and et cetera, about watching what they eat and make sure they get.
But they did the best compared to anybody before them. That's
because
the crazy
they had
thing.
Technology.
Well, yeah.
Technology.
They learned that washing their hands was a thing.
Isn't that sad? But it's true. They learned that washing their hands, that's a thing. Like how they take, like I said, just make sure you're getting rest, proper rest, making sure you're staying hydrated, taking vitamins if you need to take vitamins or supplements, eating healthy foods, not trying to stay on foods high in bad fats or fried foods, meditation, out here taking care of your spiritual self as well as your physical being. Like being able to do that stuff is going to give you the ability to keep up with those people who are out here maintaining and doing this hard effort and work like a Puff Daddy. Like you can't, I like that you said with the resources that you have. In order to maximize those resources, you have to be on your Q's, your P's and Q's. Everything has to be on one. And it's refreshing hearing that type of stuff, especially from somebody who's actively involved in what's going on right now. So, man, kudos to you, brother. Kudos.
So what you got in the works right now? What projects you got?
Actually, just recently slowed down on the music per se. I know Erica Varna's working on a project. That's really the main artist I'm working with. I started a club and a podcast. My main thing right now is to build up a podcast, kind of work with a lot of the other podcasts in South Carolina and try to build an outlet. Yep. Because I feel like with everybody with talent, we need more outlets and we need to be able to get our stuff out. And so everybody can't do the same thing. So if there's an opening, I can do music and I have my fan base. I think we got probably about a lot of promotion as a group. Man. But it doesn't help if you can't go on tour because you got kids and you got this. Yeah. You can't really post up at the AC3 in Atlanta or go to the festival in Austin. Like, it takes a lot to really push it to the next level. You got to be realistic as what you can do at this point in your resources. Mm-hmm. So I know here we can build the resources with the club and the podcast and build outlets and bring people to us. And that's more feasible than to actually have to go out and spend a bunch of money. So with the album, I can do an album in a week. Like, it doesn't take time. I just need to go in there and do it. There's stuff going on, so it's more than enough to talk about. But how beneficial would that be, not just for me, but for my culture? And then it's adding on something else to my time that I've been through the circuits. I've been through all the shows here.
The Chitlin circuit.
I can work the Chitlin circuit. I can work. I can own a club, meet all other club owners, figure out who's who, and be a part of the big shows, and then give people the opportunity. Right. And I feel like that's a better outlet for me now. It just makes more sense. And I love the music, but I hate the fact that I can't do everything. And I know that everybody can't do everything, but now as a business owner, when you can't control everything around you and you're kind of waiting for other people to get stuff done, like I said, with video situation or like just engineers in general, things like that, it's frustrating because now you're on the schedule and everybody's not completely on your schedule. But when I come to my bar, I have my waitresses, I have my bartenders. Yep. They know what time they got to be there. I can kind of control the situation. The DJ
is better.
Yeah, he's going to play what I need him to play anyway. Exactly. So it works.
Exactly.
So, like, it makes sense. So, and we're making funds, and I can put that funds into somebody who loves to do music or loves to make things work. I love music, but it's more my therapy, and it has to make sense to me now. Like, I'm not just going to go do shows 5 days a week. I don't have to go shake hands and stuff like that because people know me now. I'm coming to, if they have something, I'm coming to support them. And I'm going to stay for like 30 minutes or so and then move on and try to catch everybody. But that's not something I have to do every night. Take shots with everybody. I can't.
Hey, LB, you grown, LB. Hey, you grown.
Right.
Oh, you grown. I'm just listening to you
Right.
talking right now like, oh, shoot, good Lord.
Right.
Nah, but that's how you have to operate. That is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's different.
So shout out this club. Where we see you?
Club is crazy. It's called the Crazy Cop. CC. It's right down from USC, right by the stadium.
That's a genius name.
Shut the heck up,
Yeah.
bro. Yo, I'm going to come down there and show some love, bro. I did
Wait,
not know
you
that.
say down Bluff
Yeah.
Road?
Yeah, I'm Bluff Road.
It's right by the down to the stadium.
Down to
We're
the stadium.
right off the highway.
Really?
Off the 70%.
I didn't roll past it. I didn't even know.
Oh, okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
think I
we're
did too.
having
Yeah.
a grand opening Friday.
See?
We've been having soft
I heard
openings,
about
everything.
this. On the what's I didn't know. Oh man, shut up. I'm gonna slap myself in the head, man.
Now we know.
Now
Shit,
we
I
know.
ain't been to the club in years because I'm living that life. What you talking about? I'm talking like I'm about to show up on Friday.
hey. I'm a roll up though.
But listen, I want a safe environment. We play all 90s R&B.
See, that's what I'm saying.
It's smooth.
Might
It's
be-
30
I know if he says
grown.
what we've been discussing, if I go to his club and I get shot, I'm gonna beat his ass. I'm gonna beat your ass because I know I better not be getting shot. What we've been talking about, we've been too prone to get shot.
Right. Too grown.
Too grown.
Like, it's all 90s R&B. It's not going to hit dirt. Not
Yep.
going to hit young boy. And I love them. But
Yeah, of
that's not their crowd.
It's not that crowd.
This is
Exactly.
ain't going to the
grown.
Trump.
You
No,
want to come
seriously,
out
they ain't
and
going to
still
the
have a good
Trumps.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You want to have a good time and you want to vibe. And it's really geared toward women. So, like,
Perfect.
we
You
have
see,
the
even
hookahs, we have everything.
Yeah, I'm
even
gonna bring
DJ,
Lisa.
even DJ B Lord, he's been trying to do R&B parties and day parties and stuff like that. Because
Right.
B Lord, he been supposed to be grown.
They've been this since we
He
was
supposed to
kids.
be grown. That's what I'm saying. I was waiting for stuff like this to start happening because I know the era and stuff. We kind of like, yo, we got to start doing like grown people stuff. Like we can't be out here in the club with these young folks fighting with them in the club and stuff, tearing stuff up.
Right.
I ain't got time for that.
We need our own space. We
Yep.
can still have a good time.
There you go.
And still come out and go home safe.
There it
We don't have to
is.
worry about all the extra stuff, all the crazy drunk people. We're grown.
Yep.
We're going to have nice drinks. So
Yep.
women going to dress up. They want to come out, be seen.
Yeah, that's
Live
true.
music. Like, yeah, I want to bring poetry nights. I want to bring stuff like that. And then I want it to be early enough where you can come when you get off.
Say it
and still
again.
go home at a reasonable time to get up.
Because we got to go to work in the morning. You know, I got to get up at
Right.
6.
Gotta work.
I need to get up at 6, 5:36.
Yeah. Then we got the tailgating. So we got the games for the
Oh,
weekends,
that's
all
dope.
the game
And
sports.
you know I like my Gamecocks.
Right down from the center, wing specials, all that. So, like, I'm going
Physical
for a
love,
different
USC boys.
demographic.
Yeah, I'm really gonna be
That
out there.
sounds
You're
smart,
inside,
though. That
LB.
sounds
I'm
smart,
really
though.
gonna be out there, bro. I'm not even lying. I'm not capping. No cap.
And so once I figured out what I can apply to music, I can apply to business without limitations. I can't be boxed in.
Yes,
And I
sir.
can always reinvest my extra into music and into podcasts and into everything else because customer service is the base of everything.
Man,
So,
why are you
no
sounding
matter
like
when
Barry?
it-
Why you sound like Barry Gordy right now? You sound like Barry Gordy. I'm not even gonna lie, because that's how he was. That's how his business model was. He was like, hey, because back in the day when people did music or they owned music things, they did it because they actually liked the music. They actually enjoyed it. It was their
shit,
love.
really?
Thing. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
it was.
I thought, yeah, okay. I
It
thought you
was
just
it.
traded it like concentrated frozen orange juice.
It was their love. So like everything else, you know, they would have other business because people didn't know this like about Barry Gordy, but he was a businessman. Yeah, he was a businessman. So everything else came on the side of it. And then Motown happened to be, you know, he loved music. He liked black artists. He wanted them to do well. So yeah, man, this is extremely refreshing to hear, brother. Extremely refreshing.
That's definitely the goal. And I'm just learning at this age that if you don't give people a narrative, they'll run with it. And I'm fairly a quiet person. Like people see me here and there.
Yep.
You know me,
You
I
are.
talk, but like I'm not very vocal. I'm not one of those people that just go out and scream, top my lungs. This is what we're doing. I'm
That's true.
quiet and I like to make decisive moves.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm knowing now that I have to speak up and I have to kind of be the one to be like, okay, well, this is what I'm doing. This is the direction I'm going on. If more people want to take on that and they be like, oh, that's a great idea. They want to go to a two, then there's more people in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't take the time to educate people, or at least people figure out, okay, well, I heard him talk about it. I see it works. So
Yeah.
how did he do that?
Yeah.
Oh, he focused on customer service. Like, that's a goal. Like, I don't worry about anybody stealing any ideas. Like,
That's gonna
treat
be
your people like
that's
you
the
want to be
mantra.
treated.
Yeah, that's the mantra
Yes.
from this show today. Customer service, bro.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you need it now. Like And before we go, I will say this one thing, and I always harp on this, but one thing that must not be lost from the old school, like we could drop all this other, like, you know how they say you take all the good things that you learn, you throw the trash away, right? One of the things left over from the old society that we do need to keep is person-to-person interpersonal skills. Being able to talk to somebody, vibe with them, actually know who they are in a real environment without avatars or personas or that type of thing.
That empathy gets lost when you're out there interacting. If you learn to interact, virtually, then
that's what they're doing now.
Right. That is right. Like, I hate to be that old head, but that is one of my fears for the next generation is that there were some things that we figured out.
We did.
Let's not lose that.
Let's don't lose that stuff, but throw away the trash and keep all the gold. Yeah. But go ahead.
And piggyback on that before we go, I want to say that it's really easy than people think, and it's based on hand-to-hand interactions, going out and actually meet people. When people meet you for who you are, if you presented yourself as such, it's a lot easier out in the world. Like they played our music back to back in Texas. Like we went down there for the festival and everything. LA, wherever we go, it's love because we didn't present ourselves to be anything other than who we were. And so those hand-to-hand interactions will take you far, but you have to be able to go get them. Because people feel like they've known you all your life here. So they might not see you no more than what they've always seen you. But you are who you are. So when you go out to other places and you present you yourself, they like, man, that's different. We've been waiting for that. And they don't know you for any more than who you are, your personality. So just like, that's going to be a service. So you're right. The next generation won't be ready for it. But the people who have it, you'll be able to sell it, help those people get there. And that's the goal, to actually find what's missing. That's all business is. Find what's missing. Insert it. Like supply and demand.
Yeah.
Dang, well, that's a good point. Good points. Great interview. Bro, I'm trying to tell you, this is a great conversation we had today. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. I don't know about y'all fellas. I enjoyed myself thoroughly today, discussing what we talked today with our brother LB. We're going to wrap up right now. Is there anything else you'd like to add on? We always got to do this. Do you want to drop your socials real quick so that people know where to find you out? You know how you got to do. We got to be that new day. Got to drop the socials real fast. You want to give them Instagrams, TikToks, and stuff like that?
Yes. Okay. So LB, DACEO, LB the CEO, and Mason, ENTSC. So that's my Facebook. In fact, Mason, ENTSC is the website.
Yep.
Social, and all of the links, all the podcasts are there on the website. When you get to the Instagram, you should see links for everything there. Raw Melanin, No Cut will all be linked to Mason ENTS. And so that makes it easy for everybody, even my email at Gmail.
Perfect. Again, as you can see, that's that businessman right there. He understood.
Make it easy for
I remember people, keep it simple. Keep it simple, man. Keep it simple, stupid. Like literally kids. But man, I'm telling you, man, it's been refreshing to have this conversation. Again, just starting off this season 3. This is the kickoff, man. This is our 3rd season of Hilltop Glove Podcast. We're looking to make this season big, i.e. this is our profit season. This is when we're supposed to actually be turning the wheel on things. So this is cool, like going through season 1 and season 2 and learning how things work. Yeah. And I'm sure you had the same experience doing what you're doing with the 2 podcasts as well. Yeah, we look to make things, become a little bit more vocal, a little bit more seen out here in our community, but also to actually give back to the community in whatever ways we can. And that's what we're trying to do through the podcast. And we hope we're able to get that done. But man, I know for me, DJ and what, I've had a good time today. How about the fellas? How y'all doing?
Oh, yeah, it was a great interview, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Glad to be here. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to sign off for today. Just want to let everybody know. Thank you for joining us here on the Hilltop Glove Podcast. Every Saturday, we always try to put this thing together. This is the first of the season, 3 episodes. We'll be back for more. So for our guest, LB, the CEO, we want to say thank you. Next time, on the next episode, we're going to have our First Lady, Miss Tamaya, on up there, so we get to hear her voice as well. Actually, real quick, say something.
What up, though?
Yeah, I just had to get her in there so we can have the lady's voice in there. But
That's it for today's episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other platforms. Also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Hilltop Glove.